me get rid of this man here. All right, there we go. Put this in here. Okay. All right.
And everybody knows the theme, right? That we're discussing colonization and its effects and things.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Okay.
Well, we know you're gonna guide it. You're a competent host, you know.
I try to be, you know. I try to be. Honor everyone. Honor to everyone that is watching. Honor to everyone that's joining the chat. Honor to you all. I say peace, love, light, and wellness to everyone. To your loved ones, and to just the world and in its entirety. Before we start, this is Darkman XTV. I am an Arawak American. In colonial terms, what they call an Arawak American. This platform is for educational purposes and for the critique of public information as it is put out there in the public. And I say peace, love, light to you all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. On the line, we have Brother Alex from Pikibo. We have on the panel, we have Brother Lakona Empire and Brother Kappa Hotstep. If you guys, if I'll have you guys introduce yourselves also in order. We'll start with Brother Alex. Brother Alex, if you could.
Yeah, greetings all. As Brother X said, it's Alex here. I'm on the island of Jamaica, currently known as Jamaica. Well, I should correct myself and say the archipelago, because we're a chain of islands. And it's official. We have archipelagic status. And I live in an indigenous village here. My people are those who are common. They call them Maroons. We are a set of Jamaica's indigenous people, only one. It's commonly believed that we are the only ones, but there are others. And a lot of them still remember themselves. And it is my mission to reveal Jamaica's indigenous truth and to get to the bottom of all that has happened, that has brought us to the state of zombification through colonization, and to see how we can alleviate that issue. Unity is our aim, and that's what we're trying to establish with this work that we are premiering here on this live stream today. So I hope everybody enjoys it.
Thanks. That's honor, brother. Thank you. Brother Lakona.
Pick up yourself, Darkman X. It's always a pleasure jumping on the panel. You come on our platforms, whether it's myself or Compass or whatever, the ICCC. So pick up yourself once again. To the viewers out there, it's Lakona Empire, from ICCC. I'm from London. My heritage goes back to the islands of Jamaica and Cuba, which is Cuba and Jamaica, I'm an Arawak Indian. That's it there.
Yeah, man. Brother Kappa Step.
Yeah, peace to Darkman, peace to the panel, and peace to the chat. Name's Kappa Hot Step. I've been on YouTube for about a year and a bit now. I think it's coming up to now. Probably be 2 years in September. But before that, I was doing a lot of research, like independent research on my own and with other people for a year prior to that, making sure that I just understood certain things before I started showing certain things which I had to learn for myself that I could then, present back to the people for them to see as well. My parents are also, from the West Indies. One's from Jamaica, one's from St. Lucia. I'm currently digging through, my own people's genealogy as well right now as we speak. So I'm around the 1850s period. And so the ancestor I'm looking at right now is quite interesting with him. So I'm hoping to do some more digging on that. So I basically just want to go back as far as I can go, and just, find out some more about my people and who they were.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, so
that's vital.
So we're going to get into colonization and its effects. You wanna start it off, brother Alex?
Yeah, it would be my pleasure. All right, so basically everybody knows the story about Christopher Columbus, as he's commonly known. You know, that's not his real name. But we don't really care about the actors as much as what happened and its effects. So 1492, the Reconquista just ended. 750 years of war in Europe over who should run that place, either the dark-skinned Africans or the light-skinned Africans. A lot of people like to believe that the light-skinned people are aliens or something like that. That's not my belief. They're all from that continent. They're all from that side. It's one landmass. And we know that our continent is a contiguous body of land. And until the 1920s, I believe, until they cut the Suez Canal, Africa and Europe were joined by land. So they decided to come over here because, quite frankly, resources were scarce, and they were looking for a way to be able to compete on the world stage, because you know those people are always competing. For whatever reason, the Moors gave up our location, you know, because we had been trading with those people for a very, very long time, which is why you find, I believe, it's Ramses, either the second or the third, they found traces of coca. People say cocaine, but cocaine wasn't made until recently, because cocaine is a lab-made creation. Coca is the plant that our ancestors and our contemporary relatives in South America used to achieve a closeness to the spirit realm. So you'll find those, they found those traces of coca and tobacco in Ramses' mummy, in his mouth and stomach and all of that. So there is concrete scientific evidence that there was extensive trading between our people and theirs. I suppose that war is an ugly thing. So the Moors, they gave up our location, and for those who don't know, when Atlantis had first sunk, there was a lot of mud in the sea. So of course the ships couldn't make it. So after that cleared now, which I suppose was around the time 1492 to the 1500s, and that's when they started traveling. When they came here, they found abundance beyond their wildest imagination. Our people were great cultivators of the land. A lot of our people were very skilled in making the land a renewable resource. They knew how to modify the land so that it would keep its constitution over time. They didn't have to constantly be moving or be nomadic. They had found out the science of cultivation, and they used to also cultivate food forests. The hunting grounds were extensive. The fish was swimming on top of it, one another in the sea, and they got greedy. And ever since then, they've been taking and taking and taking. The first principle that we have to look at when we consider colonization and its effects would be the principle of terra nullius. So one of the first things they claimed is that when they got here, there wasn't any civilization, and as such, they said they found that who did not believe in a supreme being, and so they had the authority, the moral authority from the so-called Pope to take away our lands, our possessions, to take away our children, our wives, and arrest our person. And we are under that yoke still. Now, it is clear that we're under a state of zombification. We've allowed these people to dictate, to tell us that our ancestors died out because they were weak and because they were unable to do the work that the great Europeans set for them. Our people had been cultivating the land extensively from before, and the Europeans weren't making them do something they weren't used to. They simply didn't want to work for people. They simply didn't want to have to get up every day like how our people are doing now, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, killing up themselves to go to the 9 to 5, right? They wanted to be free. And so they headed to the hills, right? Some of them had armed resistance, and a lot of it is portrayed as not having been successful, but a lot of it was successful. And my people, the so-called Maroons of the island, we were successful. It's a common misconception that we are an African people, and I would have to say that many nations of people took safe haven with us because we are the indigenous people. We knew the land best, and if anyone was hoping to carry out any kind of assault on the colonizers, they needed the help of those who knew the land best. The next problem that I'd like us to look at is the fact that in Jamaica here we ignore the Spanish period and we only focus on the British period. And so it is said that there is little to no information on the Spanish period, and that is where the misleading begins. The Spanish period is clouded in mystery, and so it is easy for them to say, oh yeah, the Arawaks died out and that's it, and you know. But I think that what's necessary for us as a people to know where we're coming from in order to know where we are now and where we're going. So I won't ramble on much more. You guys have some to say. Let's talk.
Brother Lacona, you can go first. On American Arawak, on brother.
Oh, you see?
Yeah, big up yourself. Can I hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Clear, loud and clear.
Mm-hmm. What do you have to say about the history of colonization and the effects that it has had on our people today?
Okay, so my
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, my.
All right, big up yourself, American Arawaks. Nothing but fire, yeah. But I mean, to answer your question regarding the colonization in the period, I mean, since we came over here, because I'm the generation of the Windrush, so I can talk about that. I can't talk about Jamaica per se, because I'm not really living in Jamaica, even though my heritage goes back there, but I'm talking about where I'm at today, where I see things. So since we come over here and we was invited, you know, by the British to do the work that the so-called Caucasian person, the troglodyte nigger, that's what they're called. That's the original. That's what they are. You know, they invited us over here to England or to Europe, shall I say, from from the West Indies and different islands, whether from Jamaica, Cuba, you know, any Greater Antilles or Lesser Antilles or the Antilles period islands that come over here. So from my understanding, when I was going to school, they did teach about the slave trade and these things. But when I went and asked my personal family, you know, my great grandparents, they basically sat me down and said to me, "We were never slaves, and I don't know what you're talking about." I asked African people, you know, because I'm living over here with majority of Africans. You know, I can ask them different tribes of West Africa, and they say the same thing. I don't know what you're talking about. So I mean, this thing has been learned through the schooling system, because the relatives back home or over here, you know, the elder generation, they know where they're coming from, and they're telling you now, we was never slaves, and we're not Africans, we're indigenous people, the original inhabitants of the Americas. I mean, I got an article that I found regarding, you know, the Windrush period that come over here in England, and they're calling them natives. They don't talk about African this. I mean, even when we came over to this country, they was calling us coloreds and Negroes and niggers. They never called us black when we first came to England. You know, that was reserved for the Irish that came here, the Caucasian one, not the original people. of Ireland, but the Caucasian one, they call them black, you know. Um,
As black is a status.
all right. I mean, that's it, man. That's it. That's it. That's it. You know.
Copard Step, what do you have to say about colonization?
Yeah, so what I would say is that I think a lot of times people they focus on what they perceive is the academic textbook colonialism of what took place to them and their people and their environment. But then I think a lot of times they get like reality misconstrued with like what actually really happened. Like for example, a lot of people, you know, that consider themselves Jamaicans, you know, whether they're still physically on the land or, you know, they've branched out to other locations. There's certain things that a lot of them, I know they're not aware of. Like, for example, you remember last time we was on not that long ago, and I mentioned the King Philip's War for a good reason, because from that 1600s period, it was very, very important in the timeline. Because, for example, around 1670s now, obviously the British were starting to take, you know, a foothold in places like South Carolina. They was regularly going there and turning it out for, you know, prisoners of war. They'd round them up and then they would send them either to a nearby location or they would send them further afield. And then a lot of times they would end up in, you know, so-called Jamaica, for example, because you even had, you know, even Cherokees, to name one tribe, 1674. A group of them was sent to Jamaica, and then in 1693, the Cherokee actually had a delegation at Charleston to petition for them to be returned back, you know, to North America safely. But the delegation was unsuccessful, and they remained. So my question is always, what happened to these people, and where did they go? Do you see what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and it wasn't just a small group of them. I mean, at a time, they was doing this wholesale. So we'd be talking, you know, thousands, if not tens of thousands of tribal members. And, you know, if they was too rebellious, if they were occupying too much land that the colonial forces wanted to control for themselves, then it was a lot easier to just, you know, pick them up and take them to, you know, a tropical location, which wasn't too far away by boat, and just let them stew there. And then this is another reason why, you know, the majority of the rebellions were taking place precisely in the tropics of the Americas, because you're sending all of the most rebellious, all of the most cutthroat, you know, original inhabitants who didn't want to take orders. They didn't want to really go with what was happening. And you put them all in this one, you know, enclosed part of the Americas. And, you know, this is what gives the people today, you know, their kind of fiery mentality or their personality per se, you know. And then we don't even consider that we left markers, you know, in so-called Africa, cultural markers over there. Because, you know, again, people will say, oh, they, you know, they came here and they did this and that. But a lot of the things that are being called Africanisms, you know, that's just the original people, you know, laying down their foundations. Because the Maroons even had a church in Sierra Leone, the St. John's Maroon Church in Freetown. You know, when they went in the 1800s, they built that and they established that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And they still live separately today.
Right.
I'm glad I mentioned that Copper Step. So hold on to that right there, okay? About
All
us
right.
footprint over there on that side of the world. Brother American Arawak, what say you, brother? What say you? Is he there? Oh yeah.
Yes, big up to the chat first and foremost. Big up to my next. Big up to the panel. You know what I'm saying? I hear me?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I'm
Good
saying
evening.
big up to the panel. Big up to the yeah, man. Big up everybody on the panel. Big up to the chat. Thanks for viewing. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah. So colonization, as far as the educational system, has great harm and damage to our people. Physical, mentally, spiritually, and physically. On a spiritual level, we were attacked by the Jesuit ideology of what God is up, what God should be, or what we should be worshiping. So because of that, now we put our spirituality on the back burner and we adopt that kind of lifestyle that's not conducive to our ancestry, are conducive to how we perceive, or we used to perceive a oneness with nature. So as a result, we end up we call it now. We end up out of tune. No, in other words, we start wobble, for lack of a better term. And because of this wobbling now, on the mental plane, we start to fall off mentally. You know what I'm saying? Because they attack us spiritually first, and then now on the mental plane now we start to wobble, and that causes self-hatred. And because so with self-hatred come physical damage, you know, that's where the hatred for each other come about. You know what I'm saying? So this is why we don't like each other. We rather listen to a colonizer over our brothers and sisters to tell us who we are. You know what I'm saying? So we have to look on it from the root in order to correct the mistakes, the problems. You know what I'm saying? So this is why we have a panel like this to speak about these topics. You know what I'm saying? And then also with the Jesuit order was because anthropology started a long time ago, you know, and from anthropology come eugenics. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So the eugenics movement, I forgot what the dude name who started anthropology, but it was way back from the 1500s. Over 500 years ago, anthropology started. Like that was a study of
the first anthropological
Come again?
anthropological study. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I'm saying that the first basic anthropological study that took place in the Americas was among our people with Raman Pane, right? He did the research on the indigenous people of Haiti, right? And that's how you have those writings, you know, that consider the spirits of nature that our people revered still surviving today. So, you know, Raman Pane is considered the father of American anthropology, if you would.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I believe what I was reading the other day. I believe he was a Jesuit as well. I believe so. But yeah, it started
something like that.
So I'm glad you said
Right.
that. Not to cut you. But see, if you look at the Dominican friar, right? This is where the order of the order
Yes.
of the Dominican friars that they call the order of the Black friars coming from out of Europe, and it was through them.
Right.
It was through them the major split of the islands of the Haitians being on one side, and what we now call Dominicans being on the other side.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because the Franciscan monks were at odds with the Dominicans, right?
Yeah.
So they were trying to see who could evangelize the fastest to glorify their order, because of course they would get privileges, papal privileges, you know, from their pope. So they had to please him.
Yes, that's true. Go ahead, American.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so as a result, we are here where we are now. We're dealing with these draconian policies that's not that is repugnant to natural law. You know what I'm saying? And there's an uphill fight. You know what I'm saying? But we will prevail through it all. You know what I'm saying? Because with great minds come greatness. You know what I'm saying? So once we pull together our great minds and our mental capacity, then we will put things in place to counter these paper genocide, which is still in effect till this day.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is that with all of our Locono, Kapat, Step, Dartman X, Alex, you know, Yen Kun Kun, with the collaboration, you know what I'm saying? This is we put together a panel that do thorough research, tangible research, tangible things we could say, okay, we point my finger towards and say, okay, yes, this is what we're gonna use to counter these lies. It's all lies. You know, they always emphasize one side of the history, but they leave the other side. You know, they don't speak about the other side. And I'm saying, if you're gonna talk about the history, talk about it holistically, not just us, a few Africans came, and then you're gonna blow up that whole, exaggerate that whole, maybe 100 Africans come here, maybe, if so much. You know what I'm saying? You emphasize so much on that. 100 Africans, they did come, and you blow it out of proportion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then now you miseducate, you misguide. The Rockefellers, all of them take over the educational system in like from the early 20s and stuff. So they were already switching up the curriculum. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These are the people who, you know, these type of curriculums. These are the people who's behind the African American studies. These are the people who are behind your DNA results, your DNA testing. These are the people who you put your trust in. You know what I'm saying? Our people tend to put trust in these foreign ideologies over our grandmother telling us we are Indians. You know what I'm saying? And these are the things we need to. So we are here now with the knowledge that we have gathered to correct the wrongs and try to make it right. You know what I'm saying? Because first of all, the food, the herbalism, like my brother Alex, you know, he's a herbalist. His ancestors show him about the herbs. I saw even I shared with Dartman and Alex yesterday, this lady on the island, she making all these herbs from oils from herbs. Now tell me, if she was an African, how the fuck she's gonna make all that my language? And I get a little heated. What I'm saying is, how the hell you gonna how is she gonna make all those herbs and know the name of these herbs, know how to make this oil?
What they do. That's
Right. Just the fact that, you know, and it's not, we're not talking about 3 or 4 different herbs, you know. We're talking about 20 or 30 or different bottle of oil which you make, you know, from these herbs. How is it that she know how to make that herbal remedy or to make it into not only just boil it but turn it into an oil? What? How is an African who have no knowledge of the island is gonna ever sit down and have the knowledge about these herbs? Where they get the knowledge? Where she get the knowledge from?
That's true. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? You need to ask the question, where did she get all the knowledge from to make those herbs? And I'm sitting there watching the video, I'm like, wow, it's right in front of your face right there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's just my take.
They make it seem like nothing is happening on the island, you know, but you have good people, grassroots people who are doing positive work like that. I didn't even know about that lady.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Before we even touch on that there, yeah? Kapan, now you're talking about the footprints, the marks that we have left over in the Eastern Hemisphere. Could you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, so like I was saying before with Sierra Leone, now what Bam told you about anthropologists, and basically you had people like Herskovitz and Alice Herdlicker, people like this, right? Like Herdlicker took over, you know, the Smithsonian Institute, and he buried a lot of what was, you know, substantial information about the Americas, and he basically altered the timeline. He's the actual one that came up with the Bering Strait theory. I don't know if people actually know that Alice Herdlicker created the Bering Strait theory, but what I'm trying to say is he did this maliciously. Like, he knew, you know, it was a theory, and therefore he knew that it wasn't true. But their job is to make these things, you know, your reality, knowing that they're lying to you and that they're not telling you the truth. But with our people now, and, you know, the impact we've had outside, you know, of the West Indies and around the world. So you had, what's the name of the church? It was the St. John's Maroon Church, because obviously the Maroons would have been sent there now around the 1800s. And so this church was all their doing. It was all their inspiration. And then basically what happened is that the Nova Scotians had already gone there, been sent there, and had established themselves there already. And then so when the Maroons came right now, they still had that rebellious nature in them. And so the Nova Scotians, would have been your so-called Negroes who were from Canada, that region. They were instructed to kind of simmer down the Maroons and get them more into the Christian side of things. So eventually the Maroons became anglicized with the influence of the Nova Scotians. And then this would have led to your St. John's Maroons Church. But then what I even found as well, I did show this on my channel a little while back, Sierra Leone and Liberia, it wasn't the only place that we were sent to, because what you even had was some of our people were sent further into Africa from Sierra Leone and Liberia, and some of them actually ended up in a place called Equatorial Guinea. Now, this place doesn't get spoken about very often. Even the whole time I was a Pan-African, I never heard of Equatorial Guinea in my life. Like, if you blink, you'd miss it. But this was the only part of Africa that Spain had a colony, and it was so short-lived because they couldn't really financially keep it within their possession, so they let it go quite quickly. But nevertheless, this is the only part of Africa where people speak Spanish. So when they tell you that the Spaniards brought African slaves over, no, they didn't, because they only had one colony in Africa and literally only had it for about 5 minutes. So they really wasn't doing that. But then what happened was some of our people ended up in Equatorial Guinea, and they were reclassified as Fernandinos, but you had two types. So you had your native Fernandinos. These would be your biracial people. They were the native tribes of, Spanish Guinea, as it was called, who intermixed with, the Pale people that settled there, your Spaniards. But then you had Creole Fernandinos. So the Creole Fernandinos are the same free people of color, that would have been sent from Jamaica, from Nova Scotia, when they was rounding up the so-called Black Poor in London. And again, the Black Poor in London, a lot of them were just Nova Scotians, again, that were destitute. They were made promises that for fighting the cause of the American Revolutionary War, they could settle in London and have a better life, but it was a setup again. Because when they went to London now, they were broke, they could barely feed themselves. And then from there, they got shipped off to Africa. So they've gone from Nova Scotia and Jamaica to London to Africa, and then further into Africa.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I see why they call you Le Professor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you look at the pattern of how they go back, it makes sense, because from Nova Scotia to London to Africa, because you notice Europe isn't that far from Africa, so it makes sense.
It really isn't. And I forgot the guy's name. I'll have to go back and look over my notes. But again, it was a Caucasian that came up with the idea to resettle the Black Poor in Sierra Leone. And he basically had the first settlement over there. So Freetown wasn't the first settlement in Sierra Leone. His settlement was the first, and I really can't remember the name. But basically, he wanted to go to Sierra Leone because he wanted to study some type of insects out there or something. But he couldn't get anybody to really financially back his expedition there. So he came back, and then he came up with the idea. It's like, okay, well, actually, I can send some of these poor, quote unquote, Black people, and we can make a settlement in Sierra Leone. And they like the idea of that more than just sending him to study some wildlife. So he basically used the Black Poor situation to get himself over to Sierra Leone so he could, do his studies on the wildlife there. But then, the settlement was ravaged. The people, the so-called Blacks that went there, the heat was hitting them differently. They were picking up all types of tropical diseases. So all of this stuff is interesting to me because, they say, oh, well, we're sending you back home. But it can't be your home because you wouldn't be dying off from the diseases out there. Do you see what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's just not possible. And then on top of that, the native Sierra Leoneans, they would not let them settle there. They was attacking them every other day, trying to run them out of the country. So it wasn't a welcome home party, where it was Wakanda forever and everyone crossed their arms together. They wanted them out of there quickly,
mm-hmm. So Brother Lacona now.
Yes, brother.
Some people would say that colonization is a thing of the past, and we should get over it and build towards the future. What say you?
Well, to that I say, if you don't know where you're going, if you don't know, what's the quote? If you don't know the past, you don't know where you're going. So the people say it's the past. Like, listen, that's the reason why you keep getting abused and victimized and oppressed, because you don't look at the past. You're ashamed of looking or finding out answers or seeking the remedies to the issue that you face on a day-to-day basis. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Mhm.
Like, law and situation, you call yourself black in these things, but if you studied law and know the meaning of words, you wouldn't call yourself that. I mean, the colonization thing and looking to the past. I mean, when I look at the past and I look, okay, they say they bang Africans, that's what they say. But when I look at our culture and compare the two, and that's the thing that we do and how we live our day-to-day lives. I mean, it's not the same people,
Yeah.
We have more common with people from Central America, South America, and North America, the West Indians, the Amerindians. We have more in common. What do I mean by that? When you look at like certain kind of houses, what people have in North America and the States, we have similar the same thing. We just call it board house. The same thing, just
Mhm.
different. We look at the food, like jerk chicken, that Jamaicans like to jerk, and the jerk is an Arawak word. And who jerks? It's not Africans. You're not going to find African people jerking chicken, having barbecue or barbecue. These are all Arawak words, but people don't know these type of things. People don't know the inventions that we have done and created. This is why they're getting in problem, because they don't look into the past. They don't study the culture. They only listen to people outside of their, nationality or hemisphere and go what they say. Oh, you're African. Oh, yeah, everything you have, it belongs to African people. But when I look at my culture, carnival is nothing to do with Africa. Africa has many different tribes, 1,000 different tribes. Yes, the whole continent of Africa, and they're not the same. They don't share the same culture. You don't see them having, carnival. No, they don't have that because it don't belong to them. Even in the food, like, yes, Africa got some of our food, but when you look at the history part, I understand that, yeah, our people went over there in the 16th or 17th century, right? By the Spanish or Portuguese asked the West Indians or Amerindians point blank period to go over to Africa. Because when they had famine, they asked us to go over there and farm, help them cultivate in these things, their land. This is how they got some of our crops over there. We
And
don't blame them.
and you see it that it's still happening today, because look how many of these Pan Africans go over there and help them cultivate up their crops, even bring seeds from over here, still to this very day over
Correct.
there. Hmm.
Correct.
Go ahead, brother
Exactly.
Alex. Go
And
ahead.
it's happening. It's happening again, because now they're issuing the calls for people to come. They've set up this whole thing in the States, this false flag, and then the first thing that they're saying at the memorial wreath laying is that, you guys should leave from where you're not wanted, so leave America and come to Africa, But I'm gonna say this, because as I might have to leave a little bit earlier than I had intended to, because I had told your ex that Wi-Fi was doing so good,
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say this, right, in case I don't get to talk again, and that is, colonization happened. Okay, it did happen. And it continues, because we are still feeling the effects. And from where we go, we see the old colonial buildings. We see the new ones going up, right? Every time we turn on the television, we turn on the radio, we hear that the Chinese are acquiring new land, right? We hear that, the French are selling a port and the Chinese are buying it. No, I don't know how the French got it in the first place, right? None of us are made privy to those agreements. The key for them is we put it on the public record already. So, why do we need to say anything to you about it? But if you have new generations coming up, they're not receiving the education. I think Exxon and Arawaks was talking about it the other day, the educational disparity between our people and the children of the colonizer.
Yeah.
The children of the colonizer, they're taught about estates, they're taught about trusts, they're taught how to fire rifles and how to fish and how to go rowing and how to do camping and all of those things. They teach us about accounting, they teach us about so-called mathematics, and they teach you the fundamentals of English. But for you to go deeper, it's some exclusive programs that you don't get accepted into, right? You have to be, as they say, autodidactic and be willing to teach yourself as an indigenous man or woman. You have to be interested in building yourself and building each other if you want to learn anything or achieve anything at all. So if I may, if I'm at liberty to do so, as I said, because I may have to leave prematurely, this is why we started this collaboration, okay? And this is why we started what we call the West Indian Tribal Society. If I may introduce it, it is a tribal trust that was created officially last year. Of course, we've been, once you speak about a trust orally, it comes into effect. So I don't really know when exactly it was created, but this was created so that people of like mind from the island and from the rest of the West Indies who know themselves and know and have that oral history, or for those who are trying to find themselves, okay, can have that outlet that they can get the information that they need, they can gain the knowledge that they need, they can have the closeness, because many of us are very isolated in our communities. We are surrounded by people who don't see eye to eye with us in a lot of cases, and it's easy for us all to feel alone and isolated. So we decided to create this organization so that we could start searching for those people who feel alone and isolated and need an outlet, need somewhere and a family, a clan, set of people who we can build with, grow with. So some of our plans, we'd like to eventually acquire some land, put that land in trust for the benefit of all those who are members of the West Indian Tribal Society. That some of you guys can start coming home, okay, and start to come home, can start to spend months at a time, possibly, and until it's permanent. We can establish a village. But because of this same colonization sickness, not many people can live in a village setting. And so we've been extending our knowledge so that if people buy individual pieces of land, they can come under the umbrella of the West Indian Tribal Society, that trust, and get the protection that indigenous people rightfully deserve on the land of their origin. Another very important initiative that we're premiering with this live is the fundraiser. So we started this GoFundMe. It was really the conception of American Arawaks and X. Kudos to them. And this fundraiser is for us to send a small team to South America. We're not 100% sure where we'll end up, but there are many good options because our brothers and sisters in the South have managed to preserve their culture. They were hit by the Spaniards a lot later than we were, and their jungles, their hills that are much more extensive than the islands, and they have much further that they can go to hide. And so they've been able to fight off colonization in some cases. They've been able to resist, passive form of resistance, but a lot of them have been able to maintain their culture. The hope for this project is that we'll be able to acquire knowledge, acquire skills, connections, make videos, audio recordings, notes, so that our people who have lost culture because of this colonization that we're here discussing can have a compendium, a library, an archive that they can go to. They want to learn weaving, they want to learn basketry. Suppose you want to be a healer, we can design a program for those who are called to that. Okay, we can, with that knowledge, we can know what herbs will serve whatever illness. We can know how to feed ourselves naturally. We hope that we could also bring seeds and genetic material of some of these sacred plants, medicinal plants and food plants, and create a botanical gardens that will be a living seed bank for those who want to come on and just enjoy being under the shade of these powerful trees, or for those who want to do more with the land that they have. They can have genetic material available to them so that the work can continue. So this is the aim. These are the aims that we have, and we hope that the community out there will feel as we feel the passion that we feel, and know why this is necessary, and know why it's important for us to come out of our shells and to stop talking so much, right? Stop being online so much. Let's get into the field. Let's get to know our brothers and sisters, because in a lot of cases, they're longing for us to come. They remember us, okay? And they say, what happened to our people in the islands? We need to let them know what happened, and we need to embrace them. Some of them may not look the same as we do, and that's the effects of colonization. Let's try to find a middle ground, you know. Let's not get caught up in racism that has been affecting us for so long, because a lot of them don't care about that. Once they hear that you're from the islands, they're ready. They're going to send you their numbers. They're ready to discuss anything with you. They're ready to work. So let's work. You know, most Americans, dark-skinned Americans, are giving all their money and things to Africa. Africa managed to keep their kingdoms, managed to keep a lot of their chiefdoms, their gold, their diamonds, their land. Okay? We barely got to keep anything. Right? So they can build themselves. We need to build ourselves now. So I appeal to everyone. Please forgive me for, you know, having to leave so soon. But I hope that what I said was enough for everybody to take a look deeper into this movement and being a part of this thing. And brothers on the panel, I'm really sorry, you know, but when a number of us may be married on the panel, but you know, when you're married, you have the duties of taking care of who you're married to, and that's another fundamental part of tribe and clan. We need to embrace commitment. We need to be more loving amongst ourselves, and you know, brother and sister relationships, brother to brother relationships, sister to sister relationships. We need to stop hating each other, and we need to get close to one another. We need to commit to one another. You know, so I hope that the brothers here will be willing to join in a real meaningful way the West Indian tribal society. We're working on application forms. We're working on how the guidelines of membership. So we're gonna get to you guys with it some more, and we hope that everybody who is hearing, you know, who is willing to commit, you know, will commit. Those who can contribute monetarily will, and those who can give up their time will, and those who are willing to just commit themselves to being indigenous, to being who they are, we hope that they will reach out. So, guys,
yeah, man.
Once again, thanks for the platform.
I tell Sister Malkia that I hope that she gets as well.
Empire, you know, I really appreciate you guys, and you know, thanks for making time. We know that there's a big time gap, and we want everybody to know that the plan is for this to be a 3-part, you know, so I'm not going to do this to you guys again. The next two parts we're going to meticulously plan them. I had no control over this situation, so I ask for your forgiveness once again, and we're going to be speaking some more in the next 2 installments. All right, so peace, love, honor, respect, you know, and I'll be listening still.
All right, no problem, brother. No problem. All right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Respect.
Yeah, man. Take care of the wife.
Yeah, man, love.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Next, hang up from our please.
All right, everyone. So, Brother Alex had to go because his wife is not feeling well. So, it's a team thing, Before I kick this back in, let me answer our brother of original Q, I am Q. Yeah, I did read what you put. If she's not too far up in there, bro, if she's not too far up in there, she can walk away and with no repercussions, right? But if she is too far up and she took a specific oath with them, she can walk away, but she has to keep her mouth shut, okay, and stay away from them. All right, so it's like an out of mind, out of sight type of thing, and she'll be all right. All right, but if she has children, she just has to educate her children so that they'll be protected from those people, from that entity. Okay, it's not something easily walked away from if you're at a certain level and you know certain things or have done certain things. You see what I'm saying? So, but if she's out of mind, out of sight, she will be all right. Her progenies will be all right as long as they stay away from that that organization. You get what I'm saying? Because I have a cousin that's going through the same thing right now. So I totally get what you're talking about. Now, if she's fully in to the organization on like a large level, then that's totally different game. Okay, but if she's just an employee of that organization, then she could walk. Yeah, she could walk. She could walk. I hope that answered your question. All right. To everyone that's joining, honor to you all. Honor to everyone that's joining us right now. Welcome. All right. So back to the brothers. At American Arawak, I'll start with you. Now, what do you think are some of the solutions? What do you think are some of the solutions to? Matter of fact, no, not yet. Let's keep talking some more of the effects on colonization. Now, it was mentioned as that because of also colonization, there has been a self-hatred of us amongst each other, right? Of us amongst each other, and that we would rather take the word of a colonizer more than how we'll take the word of our fellow brother and sister, right? How then do you feel or do you think that we can mend those fences and bring it back to where the trust is there back within us and within our community? But before you answer that, let me say this. All right, so you see, Brother Alex had laid down some foundation, all right, along with Brother American Arawak. So they have started something that is started off on a strong foundation, something that is great. So the Indians of the West have no excuses now, okay? Because now there's a foundation that has been created to be the voice, to be the ears. If you feel your voice is not being heard, okay, there should be no excuses of any form of discrimination amongst each other, all right? There should be none of these things anymore. It's there. And the brother laid out, what the plans are for the organization, for the society. So, yeah. So, while others are talking, we have brothers here that are doing it and building it, right? So there is no divide, no separatism, okay? With that being said, go ahead now, Brother American Arawak.
Yeah, I think they're trying to play with your sound, you know. Kind of was chipping up a little bit, but you know, I hear you still. Yeah. So as far as what Alex was saying about the foundation and all these things, it's really a real, authentic, more like underground, more roots based type of development as far as culturally getting back to the ways of the ancestors as much as we can. We're trying to gather as much information from those times, pre-colonial times, and try to, you know, have it all in a collectively, have it collective, bring it all home where everybody can benefit from it. And as far as being a part of the West Indian Tribal Society, it's very simple. It's just like when like these corporate, like listen out, like these statutory tribes that they set up, these like
those severe tribes, those corporate tribes, call them for what it
right,
is.
those corporate tribes where they have federal allotted federal lands, so-called federal lands, or federal reservations, all these things. It's a similar process of being a part of it, only that we are totally not gonna go the route they go. This we're not using that eugenics method that they're using. We are strictly dealing with people who know their ancestry, and just by putting it on a piece of document paper and attesting to it, either by a elder that knows of the world history, and just you could even write down what the elder tell you and have the elder sign and attest to it. And that's pretty much it. All right. If you have your records, you could just gather them all together, with the names of the ancestors, and you just with the application you would send that in with just like as supporting documents with your application, and you'd just do the observation and see how everything look, and if it's good to go as far as it match up with everything with the research, then once we can confirm that it's true and correct, because yes, this is not something you just jump up into. It's not that kind of game. You have to have some kind of foundation. Like your ancestors have to be from the Americas. Okay, it's not something where we just create and everybody just jump on like a bandwagon. It don't work like that. You have to have some kind of ancestor that have their origins within there. And if you can't go beyond a certain point, if you have oral history, that's fine. If you're doing the record search, that's fine. If you can't go beyond a certain point because you're not in a roadblock, then we'll consider it as, most likely they never go on the census before that time. That's what we're going to consider it, because if it cannot be proven wrong, then it must be right.
So is it safe to say that even with the West Indian travel system, I want to say underground, brother. I want to say underground because
when we say underground, I mean like foundation. We start from the ground, under the ground, up like the roots, like roots. Like when roots under the ground, and it have to have a root. It have to have a base where even if the leaves them fall off, the roots still there. You know what I'm saying? So so we get back to the roots of our ancestors, because we're building it from that. From that, we're building it from. We're not building it from we're just gonna start a club and everybody join up. No, not that type of game.
Mm-hmm.
We have to have some roots connection to the Americas, whether the islands or the mainland, the West Indies in particular. But if you're also from the mainland, then it's not an issue. You know what I'm saying? Because as we say, it's not a bias thing. It's all about your roots. So if you have roots in the America, if you have roots and you can, you have some kind of somebody to attest to it, whether by oral history or you have the documentation, then yes, that's a green light. You know what I'm saying? We're not looking at your skin color. We're not looking at none of that. We're looking at your ancestral ties. You know what I'm saying? To the landmass. So that's about it. We're not in the DNA lab test and all of that. Come again. Go again. Go ahead.
So, like we have some of the brothers
Go
and
ahead, brother.
sisters, we have some of the brothers and sisters that are stuck at a certain point in history. Like even brother original Lone Wolf, he put that he can't get past 1825. Right? What advice would you give these brothers and these sisters that can't get past a certain standpoint?
Well, the advice I would tell you, keep searching. However, if you can't find it, that don't mean you won't be able to be a part of it. We will just take it as, you know what? Since there's no other records to contract, let me tell you, put it this way. If there's no record to prove that the ancestor came on a boat, then you get the green light. Put it that way.
Yeah. Because we know that there's been a tampering with the records over the years.
Yeah. And as also too, if your ancestors come on a boat, you will find the records. That's a fact. If they did travel, you're gonna find them records.
Yep.
You're gonna find them. I have an ancestor that left the island and went to North America, and I have the record to show that they left on a boat to North America from the island. So if your ancestors came on boats, you will find them records. If you can't find those records and you go as far back as you could possibly go, and then if you have oral history, because we'll take the oral too as well, because we won't listen to a DNA lab test over your grandmother. Hell no.
Yeah.
If your grandmother attests to it, and your grandma say, hey, you're Indian, we take it for what it is. That's it. We're not gonna look over our shoulder and look into no DNA lab like how the rest of them do it. No, we're dealing with grassroots thing.
So the core foundation of the West Indian Tribal Society is to bring back wholeness, healing to the Indians of the West, right? Also, in particularly the Indians of the what they call the West Indies, also, right? Bring back unity for those who want unity, right? Among those Indians of the West, and to become back one with the mother source, which is South America, what they now call South America, to relearn back the culture or add on to the culture that we already have and know. Learn the herbs, learn the healing methods over again, because like I said before, they murdered a lot of holistic doctors, including Dr. Sebi. And these doctors wanted us to learn these things so that we could pass it on generationally. That is why Dr. Sebi had gave out so much information. Even his food charts that he gave out. Even Mrs. Sebi from the fig tree, that's Dr. Sebi's very first company. Her and Sebi's children and their children together, they gave us so many information. So this is what the West Indian Tribal Society is about, or should I say the International West Indian Tribal Society, because even the Indians whom are abroad and their children, their progenies, are also one of us, right? Out of one many. So we are all, if we come together as a unit, we are all one from that one source. So it is about making sure that we have an actual foundation out there that has the best interest, not for just us, but our loved ones, our children, and their progenies coming on down into the future and have their backs, right? Now, let's get back to the colonization.
All right.
How can we heal the wounds of colonization?
Well, one of the main.
Go ahead.
Come again?
I was saying
one of the main components of the healing process would be purge yourself. Try to unlearn all that you have learned depending on well, I'm talking for older people who have been who's just getting privy to this information. learn to be alone for a moment and purge yourself. And try to unlearn all what you have learned over all these years. Have a still mind. Go in a quiet place and purge yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's the first step in decolonizing your mind. Because it have to start within the mind first. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The next step would to be get some historic books and read. And I'm saying get some historic books about the land, the Americas. I just found out the other day. I was looking at. I don't know if you guys ever heard about Condrop. You have some very interesting pieces on his platform, but he have like this when he's showing that Australia is actually Antarctica, and I was blown away. I was like, wow, and that landmass is huge. The Antarctica is kind of connected to South America, the same South America we are talking about right now.
Yeah.
So, it was called Australia. You know what I'm saying? It was called Australia before the Australia they have now.
Yeah.
Terra Fuego. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm looking at all these information, it's coming out to light. So that's what I'm saying. You guys don't, if you hit like a blockade, just try to go around it by even looking at land location that your ancestors were in, and you could get the answers like that too. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to look that far. Like for me, I look at my records and I see my ancestors was in a particular place for the last almost 200 years now, right? I'm just gonna take it as they were always there, because there's nothing to disprove. There's nothing to disprove that they weren't there before. Okay, I haven't found anything that disproves it, but I found all the evidence. So as I'm saying is that the first thing you need to do is purge the mind, get your mind right, and then start decolonize, and then start re-educate yourself. Read some books about the Americas, you know what I'm saying? Historical, what happened. Because a lot of names got changed. The land wasn't, a lot of places where the land is called now wasn't called then. So you start there, read and have an open mind. You know what I'm saying? That's a key thing, your mind. First, start with the mind, the decolonization of the mind. Start re-educate yourself, read books. Don't be open to learning. And then start with it. If you have children, you start to share what you're reading with your children. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to protect their little minds, you know what I mean? So that's one of my my suggestions. You know what I'm saying?
Brother, look on now.
I mean, American Arawaks player, that's a good bullet points. I mean, for me, foundation is the key, and I would suggest that, you start with just simple tasks, speaking to your relatives, that's to be the foundation, the roots. They're going to give you the information that you desire, that you need to hear, no matter about what they tell you in school. But if you go and ask your relatives and speak to them, have a one-to-one, question and answers, they'll tell you. They're not going to lie to you. I mean, do that. Speak to your relatives, and then, like American Axe was stating, and Dartman X was stating, and we all stated this, going to the National Archive records if you're from like Jamaica or Cuba or any of the islands. I know in the States it's a bit different, but it's the same similar construct where you can go to the actual archival place in your state, and you can research your family. You understand? Go back to different generations and just find out the truth. Because I found out mine. I'm still there, mine. I got to like 120 years, so 1894. So I'm trying to go back further. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, when I look at it and I really sit down and so my family was never slaves. I already knew this because the old stories. But I mean, to see what they was doing, for example, there was carpenters or dressmakers or stuff like that, or cultivator or sharecropper, it's amazing. If you don't seek, and you have to be open-minded to new information. It's not really new, but I mean, this is like, it's new information to you because you're uninformed, because you've been colonized, indoctrinated and brainwashed to believe you're something that you are not, because a foreigner told you that. Not what your people told you. Your folks, your family, your relatives never told you from being from anywhere else but from when they told you.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Brother Kapatsta.
Yeah, what I will probably say is that to get over, or rather, to be able to rise above and move on from the colonization, we're going to have to do a few things within ourselves. And then what I mean by that is our people need to have self-determination to where they can stand on their own 2 feet and just say what they are and say it from a place of truth, because it is what it is, rather than they always feel that they need to talk from a place of, academic or mainstream validation in line of what, a TV show says or a film says or what a history teacher in a classroom says. They need to be able to have that self-determination where they could just stand on their own 2 feet, on their own square, on their own circle, and just be confident and proud enough to say what they are, and not be scared to resist whatever backlash or stigmatization that they're going to receive in return, because it's kind of part and parcel. Unfortunately, a lot of our people are very far gone. We can't really get them back. Too much has happened mentally for a lot of our people. This is something that we have to come to terms with as well. So that means that a lot of the times, the people that are going to oppose you are going to look just like you. And then if we go deeper than that, the people that are going to oppose you the most are going to be the people that gave birth to you, the people you call your siblings, the people you call uncle and auntie and cousin. They're going to be your biggest opponents, and they're literally one of you. So it's going to take a lot of self-determination, to be able to stand and just be what you're supposed to be, because you can't keep living being something that you're not, because then what happens is nothing's going to happen. And nothing's going to happen because you're trying to fit yourself into, a square or triangle hole that you don't fit into, and you're going to get no results. So then on top of that, I think as well, our people are going to have to start seeing pride in, economically putting back into their own. So what I mean by this is, we can't keep saying things like, yes, black economics and black money, and we're going to boycott for 24 hours or 1 week. That's nothing. You see what I'm saying? That's literally nothing. And then on top of that, you're going to say that you don't want to spend with your own people on a normal day because, it's too expensive. I don't like the quality. I'm just not feeling them. But you're completely comfortable to economically empower someone else that doesn't look like you. That's not natural behavior, because in the wild, animals naturally have an inclination to build their species, because, lions go hunting so that lions can eat. You will never find a lion that will go hunting and he's trying to hunt and saying, I'm trying to get mine, but I'm trying to get some for the tigers as well and the leopards. They don't do stuff like that. A falcon, flies with falcons. A falcon will never try and fly with parrots and be like, well, parrots have wings too, so we're going to fly with these parrots. These things don't happen in the animal kingdom. So I think sometimes our people forget that animals do show us the way that we're supposed to be. So we have to keep this in mind as well.
Yeah, sure. All right, so my take on it, right? We must first, to me, heal spiritually, because a lot of this that's happening first happens on the spiritual plane. Now, I was having a conversation with American Arawak earlier, and we were speaking on this topic, on how to change the physical events in the real world, right, from the spiritual world first. And if you are one who are spiritually in tune, or one who is trying to get spiritually in tune, it is very important that it is something that you focus on mastering to the best of your ability, right? Because when you watch a infomercial, when you watch a TV series, a movie, in the movie theaters, even a play, that is colonization, and the colonizers, the powers behind the colonizers, manifesting what they want to happen and what they're going to make happen from a dream realm to bring it forth in the physical realm. This is why during colonization, they had to switch us from our original spiritual beliefs to the colonizers' spiritual beliefs, because it's not empowering us the way how it's supposed to empower us. It is empowering them, because it has made us, for lack of term, sterile. Okay, with a lot of action, but can't fertilize nothing. You know what I mean? So it's like a lot of bark, but no bite. But when we had our original spiritual beliefs, spiritual practices, the bark was there and the bite was there, because we knew how to bend time. We knew how to master and bend reality to our will. For example, you've been going through a lot of hard times, a lot of oppression, right? Every day you get up, you get into an argument with somebody, you get into a fight. You just feel grumpy, you feel miserable, you feel out of it. And you're sometimes ask yourself, why? Why do I feel like this? But then you're not making the connection that a week ago you had this jacked up dream, right? Of some entity coming to visit you, or you have this jacked up dream of you're seeing like loved ones in the dream, but then you're seeing something that don't belong in the dream in there, messing with your dream state, right? Then a couple days ago, you had almost the same dream, right? And then another dream, and then say you're daydreaming, and it's the same thing. Those are manifestations. Those are other entities that will invade that dream realm, that spiritual space of yours. Because again, this is a spiritual war. On the first level, it's a spiritual war. You must know how to master that vision, that dream, because it is your dream. It is no one else's dream. That is your realm. That is your dominion. And anything that is foreign to that realm, to that dominion, you must know how to command them. You must know how to take control of it and rewrite the narrative of that dream. Because that dream is what then becomes a reality. Because before something is even put on paper, it is first in the imagination of the mind, or what you perceive to be the imagination. This is how reality is shaped. It's shaped from the imagination. It's shaped from the thoughts of the mind, the visions that you have first in your head, and then you put it on paper. Well, say something invades that vision while you're having it in your head. At the end of the day, it's still your mind. And because it is still your mind, you can take control of what that is. So if an entity comes and it doesn't even want to tell you its name, you can make it tell you its name. That entity is trying to run away because now you got grasp of the reality of your mind. You can follow that entity to whom sent it to you. Okay? This is how powerful it is. If that entity comes and is trying to give you a bad day, a bad dream, you can turn that dream into a good dream. And the days when you wake up, your day will be light as a feather. You will be good. You won't have to worry about anything. Sometimes you have entities that come that will let you know that it's going to make your family member sick. This is what it's going to bring your way. You can rewrite that. And then when you rewrite that narrative in the dream, you get up. And when you get up, you give praise and thanks and praise and thanks to ancestors. You give praise and thanks to the Creator. You give praise and thanks to those who brought you forth here. Tell them what you want. Tell them what it is that you are looking for. This is the fight that we are in. This is how colonization took a hold of us, because it took us away from that place. It told us that that was a paganism, demonism, okay? While at the same time, they gave you a Christ, right? They gave you all these fictitious characters that supposed to have walked on water in these things, okay? In that sense, right? In that sense, okay? But then your voodoo, right? Your Obia, your show and Po, they took that, and that is what they practice on you behind closed doors. When they weaken you, when they get you to forget about your ancestors, when they get you to even forget about even your grandmother or your mom or your dad that passed away, you are weakening the spirits of your ancestors, of those ones. When you don't pay homage to them anymore, you are weakening them, and they are open to be attacked by adversarial spirits who are working with the colonial forces to harvest souls. This is why they must keep you in a state of fear and panic at all times. This is why they have their policy officers to enforce their corporate policies and trick you that it is a law for these officers to treat you how they treat you. Because it is fear that weakens you. It is fear that weakens the mind. It is fear that weakens the spirit. And just as that, they can alter the now. When they alter the now with you, they're altering the past. Okay? Not the future, the past. All right? Because when they alter the now, of course, the future is definitely altered when you are stuck in a state of fear. These are the issues with colonization. Okay? But this is how you first start the healing, to me, with colonization. This is how you first start healing. All right? And the next level, it goes into the education system. You must take charge of your children's education. All right? You must take charge of your children's education. I see Brother Lacono dropped off. I'm guessing he'll be back. Brother,
yeah, he said I gotta go. I guess he got something to do. So he said, big ups, you know.
Oh, all right. I think that's him that just messaged me just now. Also, hold on. Let me see. Oh, and Alex just let Alex. Okay. Yeah. He said he had to go. All right, no problem, brother. No problem at all. Right. But to me, that's one of the biggest issues with the healing. Is healing the spiritual, because like I don't know if you want to share a part of your story, American Arawak. When you was talking, telling me earlier about with the Hindus and them.
Oh yeah. So all right. So I used to be in Jamaica Avenue. I used to be in a flea market, right? I used to like hustle costume jewelry. Them ladies love costume jewelry, man. They always was around there. So because it was mad cheap, and ladies like costume jewelry. So I was always getting like selling costume jewelry. So I would be like the busiest stall in that flea market. And I used to have people that's walking up to me and like reading me, like Charmin and people like that. Like they would look at me and tell me like if something bad is coming at me or not. You know what I'm saying? Like people just randomly walk up to me. People I don't never met in my life. You know what I'm saying? First it was this it was a Caucasian lady. She came up. She said somebody was trying to send bad energy at me. Then the second time was I think is when I went to a garage with my cousin with a car. And this dude he looked like from Hindustan, from over the East East Indies over there. He come and say, he look in my face and he looked directly in my forehead and he would say, you're gonna be famous, something like that. And I'll be looking at him like, but at this time I wasn't like I was knowledgeable as all I was now. And then, another time it's like the same, like it's a different person though, for a Hindu dude come, he come and he would read my palms and all type of stuff. And I don't know these people I never met them in my life. And they'll be telling me like what happened in the past and how my future is gonna turn out. And then the last time that was when I think it was 2 years ago, I was in the restaurant with my wife. And pretty much all that they said from then till now did come true. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? The last one was this lady. She's an elder lady. She's an American Indian lady. Come up to me and say, she actually invited me to her church. She come from nowhere to nowhere and just come to me and telling me I need to listen to the spirit more. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, wow, like this is the fourth time this happening. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. People I've never met in my life telling me things that only I should know about myself. You know, they just telling me like what, like she showed something about my back. She's telling me that my lower back hurt. I gotta take care of myself. You know what I'm saying? Because at the time I was lifting heavy stuff. I think I was working somewhere after I lift heavy equipment and stuff. And she would come and tell me where my lower back hurt, the exact place I hurt. You know what I'm saying? And then she would tell me I'd be getting headaches. She's telling me that I'm getting headaches, right? And how to take care of the headaches. And I've never met this woman in my life. She's telling me where my head hurts. So I'm telling you, it's you know, that's how this thing go, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
We lack a deep spiritual connection.
Yeah.
That's what to me we lack, right? A deep spiritual connection, because when you look at all the other ethnic groups, they have stayed connected spiritually, even to their original ancestors. Even if you see them in the church of Jesus Christ, when they come out that church, they're still praying to their ancestors. They still do it. They're still in tune. They're still connected with their roots. They've never forgotten their roots.
They never forgot
that
the
is
roots.
one.
Right.
That is one thing that has happened to us. You know, for the most part, a lot of us have forgotten our roots, or a lot of us don't have that instinct anymore to where they can feel the connection is still there, because we have been so far assimilated into this colonial society. Okay. And this is why platforms like these are important, because it brings that back. It brings it back. And when you listen to platforms like these and you have time to chill and relax for a moment to yourself, a lot of things start clicking. Sometimes it don't click right away, but it starts clicking. You start making connections. And then you feel that little spiritual jerk, like, where you been? You know, we've been waiting for you. We've been waiting for you how long to wake up? Let's go. It's go time. Let's do this now. Let's bring our people back to the forefront. Okay? Let's bring our people, our children, to the forefront. Let's build this future. Let's build this now for our children, so that they don't have to face some of the things that we face, but we must teach them how to get back in tune with the original ones, the ones whom were here before us in the physical and whom are still here in the spiritual, waiting to ride with us. Okay? What are some of the damages that you think adopting or taking on, this for Brother Kappa Hot Step, taking on the colonial viewpoint of spirituality has done to our people?
Okay, so I'd probably say that with that now, the embracing of the Christianity and also the Catholicism, essentially what it's done is taken that true nature out of us again, because what our people, I mean, if they noticed and that, you know, they were looking back at how things were before, our people were very rebellious. They didn't want to be taken over. They didn't want to succumb to foreign occupation, colonial occupation. They were quite willing to fight to the death by all means necessary. If you actually look at old pictures as well, old illustrations and engravings, you'll see the Indians, and they weren't always fighting colonists or, you know, armed forces. Sometimes they were literally slaughtering the town folk as well. This would be men, women, sometimes even children as well would be massacred as well, because as far as they were concerned, you know, they were not going to be beaten, they were not going to be taken over. And then what you see now is that with, you know, with God and Jesus being a prominent part of our people's lives now, that nature, you know, to fight back and to take back what's rightfully yours, it's pretty much fizzled out and it's been suppressed. It's been spiritually suppressed. So what you're finding now is that things that we would have, you know, pretty much been prepared to die for there and then, when these things are done now, the reaction is to, you know, what would Jesus do kind of thing, what would God want kind of thing, is how it's approached now. And then what we don't realize is that this is why we're still seeing things, you know, being played out on us, in front of us, to us, you know, right now, today, because of this reason, you know, that it's just, yeah, the nature of what we were before. It's just been spiritually suppressed. And obviously it was all done for a reason, because you've got to remember as well that a lot of these people that, you know, our people refer to as white and European, they know exactly what Christianity and Catholicism is all about, because they were leaving Europe for that same reason, because they were like, you know what?
Sorry, bro.
They're like, you know what? We don't want to be under the Puritan religion. We don't want to be under the Puritan church. It's horrible. You know, I want to be free. So they left their own homes to make another part of the world their home, just to not have to succumb to that. And now they push it on you.
Yeah. But a lot of people don't realize that religion, this church, it's political as well.
Yeah.
Right. They tend to cloak it as if it's holy of the holies, but it's really a political system as well. The church.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you choose up. Is either you choose up or you get with the program or lay down. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
So
Alex said something. Alex said, taking on their spirituality has weakened us and made us dependent on them. It's hard for us to make decisions that are of good influence to our land, because the spiritual system we use now is foreign. So it only harms the land. We used to be able to know what would happen before it happened. Now the colonizer catches us off guard anytime. And that's true. And another thing, in the ways how it has weakened us, like I said, I'm going to go back to these killings. Like, some of these killings are killings that, we ain't talking about the orchestrated Masonic ones. We're talking about the ones of the actual innocent people who did not volunteer to be no form of sacrifice. We when we're watching these things in person, these are things that we could have stopped by intervening. But instead of we intervene and physically stop it, we record it. So what's more cruel? The person that's killing the person, choking the person out, or you that's actually standing there recording the person being murdered? You know, it's like, when do we brave up? When does that brave heart kicks back in? And then we go to church that Sunday and pray for the soul of the person that we just watched got the life choked out of them, and ask God to guide their soul. The hypocrisy, that is weakness that has been inherited from a colonial society. Because when you hear the stories of the ancestors and how they were, especially Nani, when they brought that treaty to Nani, and Nani chopped off the arm of the person carrying the treaty, because she was letting them know, we're not signing no treaties with you. This is our place. You're a colonizing force. We want you gone. That's it. We're not bowing to your laws or any of your policies. You're on our land, our inheritance, right? We for the most part no longer really have that. We have a lot of it's like when someone's window shopping and the mannequins at the window, they look good. That's the Arawakhan type of heritage, right? All that talk and all that, nation and nation this and nation that. But then at the end of the day, where are they when the young children are out there now in the streets getting their heads bashed in by these policy officers, especially when they're protesting? Yes, I'm not for the protest because I know what happened. I know what the plan already is for the young ones when they go out there. I know what the overall plan is and what the overall scheme of a protest is for the powers to be and what they use it as. They use it as a weapon back on the protesters, and they use it as a means of distraction while they're passing all sorts of policies, passing it off as laws. It's like what Governor Cuomo did. He came out this morning talking about he wrote this law and he wrote the law and he passed the law. But the thing is, governors don't write laws and pass laws in today's society. Those are not laws. Those are policies. And it was that a police officer has to turn in his weapon within 6 hours of a shooting. A police officer has to account for all the records. You really had to pass a bill to tell the officers how to do their goddamn job. That was already something that's already in their manual. You see, it is weakness of our people to stand by and watch a man like that talk gibberish, bullshit, and it go unchallenged because it sounds like he's doing something. He did not do shit. Those policies were already in the police officer's handbook. All you had to do was just read the goddamn thing. And those aren't laws that were passed. Then that the police department is a private security firm that works for him, that works for the mayors. You didn't hire them. So they're not public. They are private. And in doing so, they have, like when you go to work, you have an employee handbook. All he did was change the employee handbook and put new policies in the book. And it's telling you that it's not law because he knows you're too weak to question him on it. Why? Because you've lost your ancestral way when it comes to bravery. Our ancestors did not give a at all. They did what they had to do. So the Indians of today need to buck up. You need to brave up. Certain things you got to start asking questions. This man came straight out, let you know he's straight up. He's a dictator. He's a Nazi. He literally told because there's a lot of Indians in New York. So I'm addressing this to the Indians in New York. I don't really care about anybody else right now. He told y'all that the legislature don't know nothing about law. Who the legislature are the law writers, the law keepers, the policy writers, and the policy keepers. So when he said that they don't know nothing about law, that should already tell you what this man is doing. He's being a Hitler, a Nazi. That's what you are underneath right now in New York State, Nazi rulership. When they told him that the legislature said that what he is doing is illegal, he told them that the legislatures don't know law. God damn it. And the Indians believed it. Why? And when you speak to them, because I was in New York speaking to some of the Indians, right? Especially my family members. Fear. They're afraid to challenge these colonizers. They're afraid to openly question them. It's no more of the backyard barbecue conversations and talk like, yeah, he was messed up. I should have never did that. But when you have the forefront, the podium right there to challenge what this person is saying, why are you waiting on a news reporter who is of colonial force, a colonial entity reporter, to think that they're going to ask these questions for you? Those briefings are public briefings. You're supposed to be there. But because they told you to social distance, you're afraid to go there. So now you can't ask this man these questions. Hey, Governor, why did you tell the indigenous people, right, to pretend to be sick? You have to start calling yourselves indigenous because it takes away all his power. Why are you telling the indigenous people of New York to pretend to be sick? Why are you telling the indigenous people of New York that they have to wear a mask that cause harm to the indigenous people of New York? Why are you telling the indigenous people of New York that they cannot open their businesses to feed their families? Why? Because you see that word indigenous, it takes you out of his jurisdiction. This is how you have to start approaching these people. And you have to speak it into existence with them. Brave up. You don't have to go out there, rah, the streets and throw things, but go right to the bully and put the bully on the spot in front of the cameras. Those are public meetings. You're supposed to be there. Kapatsa, anything more you want to say?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
So this is to me how we can come back from the downfall, the pit hole that we are in. Okay. And like I said, organizations that really stand for upholding the integrity of our people, organizations that really stand for being the voice of our people, helping our people to the best of their ability, to the teaching and showing our people that they are loved, right? That there's an entity out here for you, that you are not alone, okay? And that there are strength in numbers. And we have to start building communities within a community, anywhere we find each other, okay? Because this is how we're going to combat these things. Because what's going on today, yes, we talk about the 5G, we talk about the coronavirus, we talk about all these things. We see, especially what's going on in the islands right now, they're running the same false flag shooting narratives on police officers that they were running here on the mainland. They're gearing up to go to war with the indigenous people. And they have to make up excuses for when they shut it down and cut all communication. This is how they lower our numbers every 50 to 100 years. They have to create the scenario. Oh, this is why we had to pull in the military. All communications with Zamaka got cut off. We don't know what's going on there. Next minute, you hear half the population is gone. Don't know what happened. Entire towns got emptied out. Okay? Because as long as you exist in your rightful title, you are always outside of the jurisdiction of the colonizer, and the curtains, the veil comes down. It opens up, baby, and you can see what has been going on all these years. That they have been lying to you about everything. Everything. Period. But you must heal the spiritual. Because if you can't heal the spiritual, you're not going to be able to see the devil when he's sitting and standing right in front of you. People who fall for stuff like from that man, you have no spirituality. None. Because if you can't feel the evil that emits off of him, even through the television, goddammit, your spiritual is weak. Weak. But it is what it is, I guess. Until we can get back there, till we can get back to where. And the focus now is, what would you say? The focus now is to focus on the ones who are open to learning, the ones who are open to the change and not combative as to who we are. Any of you brothers? Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Anybody who's willing to learn, have an open mind. We are here, and I'm saying we're here. We could chop it up whenever you feel like. Reach out to Brother Darmanex, Professor, and I as well. If you have anything to share historically, we're open for. If you have information to share, open. You know what I'm saying? Share it. You gotta say, Professor.
Yeah, I would say you can't force the truth on to people that are stuck on what's not true. It's kind of something they have to come to themselves, mentally and spiritually. You can only show them so much and then they kind of have to open up to it or not. So I would say to people, don't stress. I know sometimes people might get stressed because they, you know, when you know something is true and you know that it's the best thing for not just yourself and your immediate, you know, loved ones, but for all of your people, you just want all of them to get on the same page as you. And it can be quite disheartening and frustrating when you don't see that come into fruition. But you know, it's not your fault. It's just the situation of where we're at. So you just gotta understand that you can only present your findings, you can only present what's true. And you know, if it's meant for them, they will do a U-turn and they will come to it, you know, and they will take it for what it is what I will say.
That is true. That's true. Brother Alex just sent a message too just now too. Let's see. He said we have to be realistic and understand that is quality over quantity. We are here for those who want to work and get better. We can't run down those who seek our downfall. We need to rise. That's true. What say you? What say you guys?
Yep.
Yeah, that is true.
Well,
Yeah,
well,
same.
is very correct. Why you would waste your energy on people who don't want nothing good for themselves? If they don't want it good for themselves, then they don't want nothing good for nobody else. So why waste your energy there? You chop it up with who want to seek knowledge and who's on the same frequency as you are, and you come together and build something. You know what I'm saying? Whether educational, whether health wise, or whether spiritual. You know what I'm saying? You know, this is what we're about. We're not about this talking 5-hour lives and there's nothing been done. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
You know, we're not promoting snake oil.
That's
You know what
true.
I'm saying? We're not selling snake oil. So our dreams of being on a promised land. All we are saying is that everybody needs to know who they are and what they stand for and stand on it and move. Know your foundation, know your history, know your history, not his story, but your story. Study your story and find out who you are. I don't want to hear where you know what we call him Tahuti or we don't hear about Tahuti history.
Yeah.
Akhenaten. I don't want to hear about Akhenaten and all these people. Where's your grandmother? What did grandma tell you? But what grandma said to you? Where grandma say you come from?
That's a fact.
You know, don't skip over grandma and tell me about Akhenaten. Because if you don't know where your grandma come from Akhenaten? You know, that's what I was saying. You know, it's that simple. Did your grandmom come from Ethiopia? Your great great grandfather is Haile Selassie. I just want to know these things. This is how we're asking these questions. It's that simple. Who's your third great grandfather is Haile Selassie? You know, I would like to know. Is it Akhenaten who Princess Sheba or who? Tell me. What's going on? Tell me who's your great grandmother?
That's true. That is
Come
true.
from these places. Okay, well, yo, as I said, what is your story? Not his story. Your story. How your story go? This is all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? So keeping it that simple, that basic, get back to basic, get back to the roots. Pull up your records, pull up your family records, talk to your grandma, talk to your elders. Stick to what they say. Whatever the elders say, I mean, it might not be 100% accurate, but I'm more than sure that it's at least 90% accurate. I'm more than certain that it is at least 90% accurate. So, you know, so when we are present the information to you about what really took place, and you should take heed because you don't have much time to correct yourself. You really don't. And if you're going to be stuck in this mentality of, oh, you come from somewhere else, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. You're really effed. You don't have time. If you think you come from somewhere else, you really don't. you do not have time. The clock is really ticking now. You know what I'm saying? You know, all those years you wasted to take a trip to the motherland and you can't find your mother. You know what I'm saying? Why take a trip to the motherland, but where's your mom? Where's your grandparents? You got grandparents in the motherland? I just want to know. You know, you should tell me. You should be the one to tell me all these things. I can't tell you who you are. Only you tell me who you are.
All right. So
and as I said, I don't want to hear about Jesus or Muhammad. You know, just tell me what your grandmom said. But yeah, that's about it.
let me ask you guys this before we wrap it up. Hold on. Alex just sent me something. He said, "Remember to." Okay. About the. All right. Let me ask you guys this question before we wrap it up. The family structure. How for the broken homes, the damaged family structures? What is your opinion on healing that, and how is healing that going to help us further in strengthen in this battle, because it is a battle for the preservation of our people. Cop step, you can go first.
Yeah, so we've all probably noticed that for quite a while now, things aren't the greatest between our men and women for a multitude of reasons. So I think somewhere where we can go right is in making that better. I think we need to be more patient with one another as well. I think we need to spend more time actually genuinely wanting to bring some type of peace to the other person and wanting to actually know what that person likes. You know, what does that person not like? You know, what are their typical, what is their typical train of thought on a normal day of the week? What do they believe in? What do they not believe in? It might sound futile, but what I've noticed is that our people don't really background check each other. I think what tends to happen is we just kind of run together and then we just say, okay, we'll see how that turns out. And unfortunately, a lot of times that doesn't go well. And then you have children involved and it becomes a very messy situation because, you know, babies grow into children go into teenagers, and teenagers grow into resentful adults. So even if you think that, you know, your baby was too young to understand what's going on, I would say not necessarily. Not necessarily. You'd be surprised what thoughts, what situations mentally babies hold on to, and they remember that stuff. They remember that stuff for life. That's true. They will not forget. They will not forget what they saw and heard their parents doing. Absolutely won't. You know, they won't forget. So we need to really be patient in taking time to actually wanting to know the other person and then to actually be with them, you know, for the sake of, I want to be with that person. You know, I want to see this through to the end. I want to see it through for the long haul. You know, I want it to be everything that it should be. You know what I'm saying?
Brother American Arawak?
Yeah, on the point about family and making amends with the family, it's very important if you can do so. If your family, you know, won't listen to you, you can't really force anybody to not do what they don't want to do. Everybody has free will, but at least you plant a seed. You have to try to plant as much seeds as you can. Eventually, hopefully they will listen one day. Hope so. But you do the best you can. You share the information as much as you can. They might don't want to hear you. They might say you're crazy. They might say you're out of your mind. They might say you're lunatic. Go kick rocks. But plant the seed. Put it. Say something. They might tell you get the hell out of here. But at least you did say it, and you don't have to deal with that karma. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to deal with all that karma of not keeping your mouth keeping mute. I'm not saying my family is perfect, because absolutely my family have issues in terms of like my pops don't speak to his mom. You know what I'm saying? I try to amend it. I'm trying to be the middleman. Hopefully it works out. But things like those, you know what I'm saying? You have to try to do the best you can. We all have issues in our family. But as long as they're not putting on a boat and putting over into Ghana, you should be fine. You know what I'm saying? You just but heal and amend from where you can to the best you can. Be the intermediary, the mediator, as best as you can. You know what I'm saying? Just do what you can do, and stick to your roots. Don't stray from your roots. You know where you're from. You know where your grandmother from. Whatever your grandmother said, that's just the truth. Don't skip over grandma and go watch Black Panthers and cross your hands and say Wakanda. I mean, Wakanda is an American Indian term. So these are the things as what Dartman said. They always put it in the movies and try to manipulate your energy, use it against you. But yes, family is important. Structure is important. Your very family, your family you live with, your wife, your children, you start there. And then you try to fix it where, like in other areas of your family, like your auntie, your uncles, your brothers, your sisters. You try to amend it there because that's your immediate clan. That's your immediate tribe that you can relate to. You know what I'm saying? We're not talking about a Ghana tribe in a spit tube. We're not talking about that. You know what I'm saying? And you're spitting a tube on your tribe somewhere over in Congo or something. And then, but what about the tribe you're living with right now? What about your immediate family? Where you're gonna ignore them and go over Congo and go over there? You know, I'm just saying.
So but you know, it's funny because we was even having this conversation in my own house just a few days ago, and my mom, you know, she turned around and she said, "But you know what? Really and truly, our people need to stop saying stuff like that, you know, because they don't actually want to go and live over there." So I've never understood why they say these things, because they don't actually want to be there. And it's not even harsh to say it, because it's true, they actually don't. They speak to them, just ask them. So, you know, so I take it you've packed then, and they don't know how to answer that. Like I said, ask real people real things, and they can't answer any of your questions. They can't do it, because you need to understand what they're operating, the world that they're operating in is not real. So when you ask them real questions, they're living in a fantasy, so they can't answer a real question. So when you're asking them, so have you packed your things? You know, have you downloaded Duolingo? Have you worked out what language you're going to choose to speak when you go out there? Because they don't all speak the same language, even though it might be one country. You know, have you started practicing, you know, what to cook for when you go out there? They can't answer it because it's not real. The whole concept of them going there and whatever is not real. So it would make more sense for you to spend time talking about somewhere where you actually want to be, which is the Americas, because you're from there.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah, the Pioneer fund all the black-led groups. Okay, so as I said, follow the money, and you're gonna see who is backing the Ghana movement and all these Black Lives Matter, and you can't go wrong, man. Yeah, you always go back to the source.
And look how long they've been trying to get you to go to Africa from Liberia and Sierra Leone. Look how long. And every year now, from that time to this time, every year now, they still trying to push you over there in mass migrations over there. And you're not realizing that, hey, you do realize that something don't feel right. Even when you're around our brothers and sisters over there in the East, you know, because we're all Earth brothers and sisters, you have that energetic feeling that you just know that they're not one of you and you're not one of them. You can feel it. It is there. Like it's and some people, I don't get how some people ignore that feeling. But if you're gonna do one thing, at least before you get up and make this migration, make sure you know the real ins and out of history. Make sure you know the historical facts of what's been going on all these years before you make that pilgrimage. Because I'm telling you, you make that pilgrimage, and after a while, just like what they're doing in Liberia now, they're trying to kill off the brothers and sisters in Liberia. Okay? This is not a game. Because they're not one of them. All right? And that's their land. And these people want their lands back. Okay? So you went there, you contributed, you contributed fine, you spend a couple years, you spend a decade, 2 decades. Oh, guess what? We now want this back. Okay? Because at the end of the day, that's their ancestral home. It's not yours. So when you're running away from your ancestral home to big up and build up another man's home, you're weakening your own that you're running away from. Right? And for the life of me, I never got it. You're here. You want to run away from all the atrocities here, but where you're running to is worse. The atrocities there are worse. It makes no sense to me.
What is in place at Ghana? What is in place at Ghana that's going to stop the police from putting a button over your head? What is in place over there? You need to ask yourself these things because there got to be something have to be implemented over there to protect you.
That's true.
So if the Constitution over there doesn't apply to you, then how are you going to get constitutional protection as a black man or a black woman? Because remember, you're going over there nationless. Don't think because you look like you have the same skin color, that means you're gonna get adopted, and it's gonna be all bed full of roses and all these things. You have to have a nationality. You have to have a people. You have to connect it to a people. If you go over there as black, they're just gonna put you in a community and say, okay, these are refugees that left the North America, come over here. They're refugees. They're nationalists.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And they're not going to give you a nationality. They're going to give you a citizenship, but they're not going to give you their nationality. That's not going to happen.
Nope. And then it's the overseer for that is the Ministry of Tourism. So you need to ask yourself, where's the Ministry of Culture? Where's the Ministry of all these things? Why is the Ministry of Tourism is overseeing your return back home? That's your home. Listen, tourist. It's a tourist minister. It's not as in a cultural minister to say, okay, we're going to repatriate them back to their cultural tribe or their tribal, reconnect them back to their people or help them find their people. It's tourism. You know what tourism is? Tourism means income.
Exactly.
Tourism means just like at Jamaica, you have tourism. People come, they come to a hotel and they spend their money and they get the hell out of there. They don't stay there.
Mm-hmm.
They spend the money, they enjoy the time, and then they leave. That's what a tourist does. The Ministry of Tourism is the one that's overseeing your return. So what is in place for your return, really?
That is true.
Know what I'm saying? So you got to ask yourself these questions before you jump on a boat or airplane and then go over there. You have to have some. Who's your grandmother? Who's your 7th great grandmother? Is your 7th great grandmother from Ghana? And you connect back with your 7th great grandmother, your 5th great grandfather from Ghana. Can you do that?
That's true.
You need to start asking these questions. So, don't tell me about Akhenaten, because Akhenaten is in Egypt, and Egypt is an artificial made up place right now.
Yeah.
So don't tell me about Akhenaten, because Akhenaten was built by the Europeans. Okay, it was under construction as recent as 1920 something. You know what I'm saying? So don't tell me about Hotep either. So do your research, man. And as I said, as Alex said, this is about our roots, West Indian Tribal Society. We are collectively inviting all the people who know themselves to be a part of this development.
And which
that's what's up. Yeah.
Go ahead.
God, this is what we are about the root, the foundation. What is your foundation? What did your grandmother tell you? Grandmother tell you come from Ghana? Okay. Then there's a foundation in Ghana for you. Go over there. Go figure it out over there. Go find your grandmother over there.
Oh,
we are dealing with Americans in general, like mainland Americans and
you're breaking up,
bro. I'm saying
you're breaking up. But they've been messing with the live from we started anyway. I already saw it.
Yeah. You hear me?
Yeah, you're breaking up.
All right. The foundation, as I said, is for all Americans. We open to all Americans who know they have roots in America, in the Americas, not just North, not just South, not just the Caribbean, but the Americas openly. As long as you know your roots.
The West Indian Tribal Society, or the International West Indian Tribal Society, is for Indians of the West, because this is the West, over there is the East, right?
Yep.
And Indians of the West, whom know who they are, whom have done the research to go as far back as they can to know who they are, whom can provide also an oral presentation as to whom they are, who done the research, the genealogy, to go as far back as you can, okay, on mother or father side, or mother and father side. Even if you are biracial and you have American Indian ancestry, okay, this society has been created because, like I said before, there's no voice. There is no foundation to have our backs when we are out there in the world, left to be open prey. Okay, everyone is already contracting with this and that entity, and within those contracts, they're telling them that they have to leave you alone, that they can't get too involved with you. All right. So this is not the International West Indian Tribal Society. So for the Indians from abroad, the Indians who even went abroad and had children abroad, if you do wish to come home, we have started and built this society, this foundation for you, to bring back not only the education of herbalistic medicine, not only the tribal environment of that family unity, that cohesive unity, right? To also educate, to take charge back of the education system of our children, our youths, and make sure that they are brought up and educated the proper way, not brainwashed and initiated into an MK Ultra type of system. All right. Make sure that they are strong-minded individuals when they are going out there in the world today, because we'll be asinine to think that they're just going to stay in the camp or in the tribe, and that's where they're going to be all their lives. Young ones will be young ones. They're going to want to go out in the world and explore. It's like the Chinese. Their young ones go out in the world and explore, and anywhere they go, their culture goes. They've always traveled in packs with each other. In case of anything, they could always fall back and depend on each other, and they go back to that cultural mindset. They grow and they build with each other out there in the world, and they dominate economically anywhere they go. Okay, so the International West Indian Tribal Society is all about rebuilding, reconstructing back what was once lost or stolen from us, the inheritance that the ancestors left for us. All right, but it's not going to be with just any and everybody. It's not the weak of for the weak of mind or the weak of heart. It's not for those who have not done the research on who their ancestry is, because we're not just going to sit here and just openly take anyone. And next minute, when we go run your stuff, guess what? Both your parents are Africans, and you're just over here trying to see and over here. We're not having that. So, it's not for the full locks, full braided. Well, y'all know. But look,
Yeah, and we are
this
not.
is-
We are
Yeah.
culturally affiliated. We are not politically affiliated. Okay, we're culturally affiliated, not politically. It's there's a difference. Okay, so just to put that out there.
Exactly. So, if anyone wants to help with the journey in which the society is looking to take, we're looking to make and send out a team out to South America to learn more of the culture, also to come back and educate back the people on more of the culture, the spiritual beliefs, the educational beliefs of the culture, the herbalistic beliefs of the culture, and to come back and to use those that we have learned to be off the foundation to build for tomorrow, for today and tomorrow, for us and our young ones, our future progenies. We're not trying to do like the ones that left and went out to these places and came back and sit here trying to tell you that you're something else that you're not, because they're trying to use it as a means to team up with the corporate government to steal more of the land. And they're doing it because they want clout. They want to seem like they're Mr. and Mrs. Big Shots. This is not what this is about. This is about you. This is about being righteous, doing right, having good morals, good standing with you, for us, right? Because when we do for you, we also do for us, because out of one, many, and that many is one. Okay? This is it. People asked for something, and it's being worked on. Now, will it be supported? Right? Or is it going to be, well, we don't have no one out there to represent us, and we don't this and that, and you see what I'm saying? So it's being worked on, and we have to make pilgrimages throughout this for this society to work, to thrive, because we have to make connections, links with our brothers and sisters in the South, with our brothers and sisters here in the Central, the North, with our island brothers and sisters, and make that with our brothers and sisters in Europe, right? We even have brothers and sisters who are out there in Africa talking about, but once the information gets out there, I am not going to say that we cannot change back the minds of those ones and get them to come home. The truth is a hell of a drug once you get addicted to it, right? So, we know that we can make this happen, but we can't do it on our own. And if that's the case, if we are to end up doing it on our own, then it's going to be our own. Okay.
Yep.
But
Yep.
We ask for the help. We ask for the help of the people out there.
We're gonna have a constitution as well. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We're gonna have a constitution as well.
I'll put the link to the GoFundMe in the chat for you guys as well. And if you can, also, if you are not financially able to support, we ask that, especially the Indians, the Caribbean Indians, to make at least a 30 to 40-second video. Now, it doesn't matter what island, what landmass you are from, of your heritage, of what kind of Indian you are, and just let it be known that you still exist and that you are not extinct. Okay? And you can email that video for right now to me, right, at Darkman Media. At G.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Darkman.
So that's another project that we are working on, because, like I said, we have folks who claim that they're representing the indigenous people in these UNs, and they're not representing us. What they're doing is they're taking our identity, pretending to be us, and they're taking our lands because it is said that we are extinct. So we are not extinct. So a video declaration made public is a public declaration and is on the public records. Now it gives those imposters a run for their money. So again, we ask that, if you can't financially support it, just make a 30 to 40-second video as to whom you are, your tribal ancestry, right? And just email it to me, right? And we know what to do with it there on out. Okay.
Yeah, another thing, that one. Another thing I want to say to a lot of these islands that
who's Prince Sadiq?
Greetings. I just got home about 10 minutes ago, so.
Oh, okay. Oh,
okay.
All right.
Oh.
So, anything that you want to say, brother?
Well, I'm just happy to be on with you guys, man. I've learned a lot, and I'm here to help build.
Okay. Yeah, because we was just about to wrap it up, but we was talking about the International West Indian Tribal Society, on it being the cornerstone, the foundation, for us to grow on,
right.
to rebuild anew, right? So
Right.
it will be there. It's something that will be there for the people, for the brothers and sisters out there who needs that guidance, but we also need the help of the people for us to be able to make the pilgrimage, down into South America and pilgrimages into the North and Central to gather and collect not only seeds from the Mother Nature, but also ancestral information.
Well, I'm done with that because I'm a so-called herbalist also. My degree is in pharmaceutical chemistry, but I switched now to being a herbalist. So, with that said, I would love, man, for us to maybe have a timeline in where we can go, maybe as a group or lead an expedition or a group, or to go over there, because that's our homeland. This is our homeland, so we have to explore and preserve the knowledge and heritage of our homeland.
Yeah. Alex said to heal you up, Prince. All right. You said to heal you.
Yes, bro. Yes, yeah.
But
what another thing I wanted to say just before we wrap up. A lot of these islands, these Caribbean islands, they had different tribes on these islands, right? Different location on these islands.
Right,
As small as they were, as small as they are, they have different tribes on them, right? But I know for a fact that we are mixed in with each other. So we were from the same source. We just branched out in different tribes. So as I'm saying is, one of the easiest way you could identify your people as a tribe, you just identify with the land. So for example, Zamaka or Shayamaka, you just say you're Shayamakan Indian. Or like for example, Trinidad be Kyrie. They say you're a Kyrie Indian.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like Prince Sadiq, when you come from the Parati people, you know what I'm saying? You could say Parati Indian, from Shamaka. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying for people who don't directly know because when they say we're extinct, that's what they really did. They just terminate with tribes. That's all they did. Right, and I was assimilating in that colonial society. So what I'm saying, just find out what's the original name of your land, like the island. Like say Trinidad would be named Kyrie. You just identify as a Kyrie Indian. You get what I'm saying? Identify with the land. That's another way you could get around everything. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Just identify with the land.
Okay.
So that's just what I gotta say there.
Yeah. Any knowledge you want to give to the people, Prince?
Well, since this topic was on the herbs and stuff like that, just remember this: there's no other people on earth who knows about herbal stuff like Caribbean, West Indian, American Indians. No other nation. That's why, if you know, I mean, in Jamaica during around this time of the year, you always have doctors and scientists coming from Europe, England, going through cockpit country and all over the regions of Jamaica and asking, what do you use to treat Alzheimer's? What do you use to treat arthritis? What medicine do you use? They go back, I mean, every year they're in Jamaica asking these people these questions, asking our people these questions. They go to Grenada, they do the same thing. If they are such scientists, right, why they always turn back to us, right? All they do,
True.
they take our knowledge and then they make a generic, I mean, version of it, right? To, you know, medicine works. You know, it is still go to target area, but it target one area of their body, target the kidney, and damage the liver. You know, and most of the medicine that we have out there for, I mean, is not for us anyway. It's for them, because you know a lot of these people are just a walking disease. So a lot of these medicine that they are making is not for us. If we in tune with nature, right, we're okay. You know, I mean, my uncle was in the hospital 2 years now for kidney issues, right? And you know what the doctor said to us? He says, you know, most black people, he used the word black, most black people, their disease is dietary, lifestyle. And I'm like, what do you mean? He says, high blood pressure, hypertension, high blood pressure, and all those things. He says, it's all, I mean, lifestyle disease. Black people, he was saying. And this guy, he's from Russia. And all their disease now is genetic and all those things. But look into it. If you think about it, most of the stuff that we are dying from, or people are dying from, is dietary. You know, if we get back to the way we were eating back then, yeah, we were missing.
Hold on, Prince. Hold on. They're tampering with our audio.
As usual, yeah.
Yeah, there's someone tampering with the audio. But because once you started touching on certain things, they started intervening with the audio, right? So, all right, go ahead, Prince. Go ahead.
You know, back to our, I mean, our days of little kids or our grandparents used to cook, right? You know, this high intake of meat and stuff. Meat was just once a week on Sundays, and then we have our fish fry on Fridays, and the soup is on Thursday.
That is true.
All the way we eat over here, man, is damaging to us, because you know, old people always say it takes a long time for the meat to digest, right? It means it takes like a week. So you know what they're saying. There's always science to what they were saying. And we just have to get back to, as you said, we have to go and collect the seeds and the know-how and what we use all certain things for. And our people will be fine once we get back there. Back to you guys, yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy to see how these people spend trillions of dollars every year to shut down us from coming out about our identity and who we are. This is prime example how they troll these accounts, our channels, our platforms, tamper with it. Like the amount of people that I have hit me up tell me that they're getting kicked every time they try to join in. They're getting kicked out. If they try to play the live, it's not playing. Then the sound quality is messed up. This is the thing that they do. All right. So these people out here are demons. They're devils. Point blank. Period.
Yes.
And to show you how powerful the knowledge is, and to show you how powerful what it is that. Not that what we're trying to do, what we are doing is they fear it, okay? Because it is the very threat to their very own existence, and they'll do whatever they can to try to stop it. All right, but they're not dealing with weak-minded people. Period. There's nothing that they could throw over here in any of these directions that's going to make us stop. At the end of the day, it's just what it is, okay? And these are the folks that they hire to troll our accounts and hack our accounts and mess with our accounts. You know, I dropped the information on that, but I still have more to go in depth on to show you the actual companies that are doing this, right? So, yeah, but yes, like Prince said. We in Jamaica we have 51 different strains of marijuana, right? Out of all, we have more than 50% of the different strains of marijuana in the world in Jamaica. And one strain of marijuana alone cures over 200,000 different ailments. Your last show, DMX, they took it down. I don't see. No, they didn't take it down. They buried it. They buried it because it showed Cuomo to be a goddamn liar and that he was making everything up. They buried it. So it was supposed to be on the latest watch list, and they buried the whole thing. So if you don't go on my videos, you have to click on my channel, then go into my videos to look up to see the last live that I did. They buried it because I showed the New York Constitution, the New York State Constitution, the very first one, to show you that anything that he's talking about, none of that he put out there, Lord. But anyway, let's back to this though. To show you how powerful the herbs are, because we're gonna do a live on this though, but I don't want to go too much into it. But Jamaica has 51 of the world's marijuana supply, 51 strains of the world marijuana supply. Okay, that's how powerful of herbs that we have down there in abundance, the way how we have it, right? We have out of the nightshade, the most powerful form of nightshade is in Jamaica, right? These herbs that we have in a lot of the West Indian islands, they have a lot of the herbs that cures a lot of things. Like Alzheimer's is not something that ran into island culture. Our elders didn't have that. Our elders' memories was as sharp as a 19-year-old. Okay, it's when they started giving these generic medicines. It's when they started making these pharmaceutical medicines to mess you up, to mess up our body, our mind, right? It claims that it cures one thing, but it gives you 15 different other types of diseases and ailments, right? So these are the things that they fear. So when we speak like this and speak about going back to the source, because you got to remember, there's been a lot of imposters, government operatives, to portray like they are us. Now you have the real ones coming out saying that we are here, we are still alive. That is a major threat to what it is that they are doing, not just here in the Americas, but internationally. All right. So this is not something for the faint of heart. These people, this is where it gets dangerous. Okay. But we shall not buckle. We shall not falter. We shall not fear. We shall keep going. Whether we have the support of anyone or not, we will keep going, and we will make this trip happen. It's going to happen because it's the first stepping stone in many things that we have on a list planned to take care of. All right. And we have to heal and come together as a cohesive unit. Also, Indigenous Ivy, if you are out there, I left my information in your email. Get at me, brother. Get back at me. All right. But yeah, so it's we have to rise in power. But I'm about to wrap it up. But Prince Sadiq, the next show, you're definitely going to be on the next panel. The next show should be about the herbs, I believe, and you're definitely going to be on that next panel. Okay.
And just a quick second to add to what you said about the herbs.
Mm-hmm.
You know that, I mean, I know you already know, but do people really know that Jamaican usually tell people ahead of time what these herbs are used for, way before the scientist comes out and say what these are used for? Mm-hmm. Years from before we were born, we tell them what you can use this herb for, this marijuana, what you can use it for, way before anyone else. So, in terms of their laboratory know-how, brother, it's dead to us. That's it.
Yes. And you know what? Q, yeah, I know. They started burying my because look, Cuomo did another live stream today he was talking about me, right? But I don't care. Like I said, that live that I did yesterday that was it. I'm not touching on the topic anymore when it comes to that. But they don't like the on this side, they don't like the indigenous talk. That's what they don't like. Because anytime he says foo-foo stuff, we approach it from indigenous. That's all you have to do. Any governmental agent and aspect says something foo-foo that you know for a fact is not true. Those who have the knowledge and know that they're blatantly lying, You always approach it from the indigenous standpoint, as from the original man and woman of this land, on this land standpoint. They can't get around that, because that means anything and everything that they're saying might go for those who they have tricked and trapped underneath their jurisdiction. But for you, none of that shit goes for you. Okay? And then it's a bigger thing now, because now it's not just crimes against humanity, it's crimes against the original people of the land, when even in their own doctrines, they are not supposed to be doing. Right? So what he is doing, he's injuring us. He's causing genocide to the American Indians, to the New York Indians of the Americas. That is what he has done. That is what he is doing as a Nazi, because he's a Nazi. When you have a governor that tells you to ignore the legislature because they don't know law, and to listen to him on his Nazi rulership, you have a problem. That is a dictatorship. When you have a governor that comes out and telling hard-earned working businesses that, hey, since you want to challenge me, I'm going to make the city inspectors shut you down. That means if they don't even find any problems, I'm going to make the city inspectors take away your liquor license. Well, when you have proclaimed your nationality, when you are indigenous, when you are the original man of the land and outside of their jurisdiction, none of that shit goes for you. They can't come touch your business with a 10-foot pole, or it's bong on one of them, because that's when it's open war that they've declared on you. None of his words don't go for you. But since the Negro wants to identify as Black and African American and participate in their governmental structured system, all that shit goes for you. Get out.
Yep. And then once you put it out there to for the world to know who you are, then you invoke international law. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And they cannot encroach upon your rights just like that. You know what I'm saying? Without causing it'll be like terrorism, you know what I'm saying? So you could literally, label them as a terrorist.
Exactly. Also, for those, I asked for the 30 to 40 second video, but let's make it a minute long, where you add in that they've also perpetuated paper genocide on you by identifying you as something that you did not tell them to identify you as. If they have on your documents African American and Black, you didn't tell them to put that. That's paper genocide. Okay? Period. So make it a minute long videos, add that in the videos. And again, here's the email, send the video here. If you're on the islands, if you're on the mainland, put what your ancestry is. If you know the exact tribe that you're a part of, if you know even the nation, like some people say Cherokee Nation, if you're familiar with that, put that. If you are Parati, if you are Yenkunkun, if you are Garifuna, let us know. Let us know, and let us know how they're writing you out of history, how they have been committing paper genocide on you so that they can commit physical acts of warfare on you daily, on your persons. Okay, but we're only taking a 1 minute long video, because there's a reason why we're doing this. All right, it's a reason why we're doing this. It's a reason why I'm asking you guys for that type of video also as well. It's time for your voices to be heard. It's time for your voices to be heard. It's time. This is the end game. Okay? So here's my email again. All right. And I'm going to put it also at the top of the chat. But I know that that my past 3 lives, they buried them. What they're doing is, when you do a live stream, within 20 minutes, it's supposed to upload immediately, then 20 minutes, and put on the latest live watch list, on the latest list, right, of videos done. They hold it for 2 days and bury it. And then when they do put it out there, they don't give no notifications that I did a new live. That's what they're doing. So no one is aware that I've done a new live stream. So pretty much that's what Nick says. Nick called it something shadowing. They're shadowing us, all right, and tampering with our platforms. So they'll let me get the subscribers now, but we're going to kill your videos before it could even get traction. That's what they're doing. Okay, but this is a part of the fight. This is what it's about. This is a part of the This is just a part of the fight, people, and this is just something that we have to get used to, right? Another thing that they're doing is when its lives are taken off, they tamper with the feed and then they delete like half the people out the live stream. Times I see the number will go up to 80, then it goes up to 100, then it skips right back down to 80 in less than 2 seconds. That's not possible. That they're controlling the audience base that they want to hear the information. Damn right, can't stop, won't stop. Our ancestors weren't quitters. We're not going to be quitters. I have my ancestors behind me, and I conjure up every day, and I say every day that I have 100 guardians walking with me. Okay, my 100-man clan and woman clan behind me.
Yeah, man.
So I walk with no fear of nothing and no one. No fear. None.
Yeah, bro.
Can do
I'm walking up for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. I say Rainstorm put up something about he went to an African Jamaican restaurant and the food was terrible. Well, that usually happen. When foreigners want to take up the culture and profit from it. That's what usually happen.
Yeah, the food
it's just like it's just like you have what you call the chicken again? What we call the KFC, the other one.
Popeyes.
Popeyes, yeah, that's a down south method of frying the chicken. And then who you have running it? The European.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it always happen.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah. So as I'm, as I was about to say, thank you for viewing. Thank you for the time. Mm-hmm. We're gonna have more episodes like this. We're gonna keep kicking it till we get with people together on one accord. For the children's sake, more so. For the children's sake. And I just want to say, honor to everybody. Big up to Prince Sadi, big up to Dartman, big up to Alex, big up to the ICCC. Yeah, man. So thanks for having me on, Dartman. Really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
We got many more to come, many more to share, many more information. We just have to keep the work going,
Also, to the empresses of the ICCC, you guys are going to be next to be on the on this panel. Also, I have a major idea for all the platforms. Oh my God. But we can't speak about that right now over the airwaves. But trust and believe, you ladies, you're going to love it. But yeah. All right. But yeah, just big up to everyone, man. Prince Sadiq, honor, thank you for coming through. American Arawaks, thank you for coming through as usual. Brother Alex, Sister Malkia, hope she's feeling well. Hope she gets better soon. The ICCC, Kappa Hot Step, Lacona Empire, DJ Gambler, the Maestro, that's what I call him. Empress Copper Fox, Sister Cherokee Tolu, So this is it, man. This is it, right? There's no more. It's straightforward. There's no turning back. So if you're with this ride, if you're on this ride, this is it. If you're not, still much love to you, more power to you, and the best to you on your journey. No animosity, no hatred towards you. And if you are in a situation and ask for the help and a reach out, you shall receive it. Because that is brotherhood, that is sisterhood. That is about being soulful being, right? That's what it's about. So as much as folks out there try to sabotage, they try to tamper, look, when you can't stop the truth, period. The truth always trumps a lie, and lies always end up coming out. Okay? So,
And
yeah, go ahead.
and to add to what you're saying, man, I would love if everyone in the audience today just to listen to Bob Marley's song, Babylon System. We refuse to be what they wanted us to be. Just listen to the song, man. Just for after the show, and that that will embodied our spirit.
Exactly. But to everyone, man, we say peace, love,
Peace, brother. Peace and love.
to you all. Safe travels to you all. Best of health to you, your loved ones, and we'll see you guys again real soon. All right, honor everyone. Honor. Thank you, brothers, for being on the panel.
Thanks. Thank you.
Born free. Next time, brother.